Nights. No, only pressure is that the sniping that people say you got to do as good as them.
It's just good. Vegas is treating us well, and I think the record doesn't show how hard that we work, and it's tough in that way, but it's good for us in the inner circle to understand what we have going on in Vegas, and if we just continue to trust and believe in each other, the sky's the limit for this team, and I'm blessed to be a part of it.
Our expectations maybe at the start of the season were a little unrealistic.
Man, we're not even worrying about the playoffs right now. What we do is we take it week by week. We gotta worry about next week. You start looking ahead and you start looking over people, you might not even make it. So
that being said, to me, Urban Meyer is one of the lowest pieces of garbage there is on this earth.
You are tuned in to Straight Bet Sports, live on the Gorilla Cross Radio Network.
Here we go, man. We are back at it once again. We are live in the studio, hanging out with you guys here on a lovely Wednesday afternoon. You know who I am. I am your host, Jose V. You're tuning in to Straight Bet Sports, live here on the Gorilla Cross Radio Network. My co-host, Ian B., back in the studio. Second week in a row, hanging out with us today.
Yes,
glad everything's getting a little better for you there at home with the family, with the health and everything. So I'm glad you're back, my guy.
Yeah.
I see you're chilly, you're cold. You got the Eagle stuff, as you do almost every freaking
it's
show.
nice out, man.
I got to start wearing my Jet stuff for the regular season.
I love this weather, man.
You know what? I don't mind the wind. I mean, I don't mind the cold. I hate the wind. There we go.
I love the cold. It's my favorite time of year.
Yeah, man. But once again, we are live here on the Gorilla Cross Radio Network, coming to you live from downtown Las Vegas, Nevada. Our guy, Quan59, behind the big board, doing what he does for us every single Wednesday afternoon. We got a guest in studio tonight. Not his first time on the show. He has been on the show with us before. Good friend of mine as well. I mean, I can call him that because I talk to him. You know what I mean? It's not just here when we get him on the show to talk sports, just hang out, life. Great young man. I'm glad to have him in the studio. He's doing a lot of big things. Got some news that he basically found out about a few days ago. He hit me up, so we're going to talk about that on the show as well. But I'm going to do what I do every single Wednesday, guys. You already know what it is. I sound like a broken record. Press that like, press that share, drop a comment, and we'll go from there. Let everyone know what it is that you are tuned into today. We are live on all Gorilla Cross radio platforms, and what I mean by that, anything on social media, whether it's Twitter, YouTube, or Facebook, look up Gorilla Cross. We are there live right now, streaming as you are watching us. And not only that, 702-608-3259 is the number if you want to give us a call. And final, GorillaCross.com. And of course, the Gorilla Cross app. If you haven't downloaded it today or before, download it now on the App Store for Google or Apple. It's free. Hey, free 99. Who doesn't like free stuff, right? But we appreciate our sponsors as well. We do have a sponsor on the show. He's been rocking with us a couple years now. My guy, my barber, personal barber of the show, our guy, Eric Navarro. We greatly appreciate him and his sponsorship. 702-884-8138 is where you can hit him up. If not, on IG at Line Him Up by Eric. And the easiest way, though, because he keeps telling me to tell everybody, download the Booksy app. Look him up right there. He'll pop up. You can book your appointments, whether it's a beard trim, a haircut, a cleanup, whatever it may be, a lineup. He can take care of it for you. Once again, Eric Navarro of Line 'em Up by Eric, 702-884-8138. We greatly appreciate him and his sponsorship here on the show. But Ian, you ready to jump right into it, my guy? We got a lot to talk about, right? I mean, before we get into it with our guests, we got Knights. We got Champions League. We got Phillies, World Series, yes, Kyrie Irving. I mean, Raiders, rookie things we need to talk about. The Snyders finally decide to say, hey, we're going to sell the team, or are they, right? Obviously, the big firing in the NBA with Steve Nash now being gone. So we have a lot to talk about on today's show. It's going to be a fun time today, but let's jump right into it. You're a good friend of mine, good friend of the show, former UNLV Rebel, still a student at UNLV, just not on the football team there anymore, but He is a very talented individual, great young man, and we're happy to have him back on the show. He is none other than Jalen Graves. Jalen, what's good, my guy? How you doing today? Yeah, man, we greatly appreciate you coming on.
Welcome.
You good? Everything all right with
sir.
you?
Yes, sir.
You excited? You happy? Because you got a
Very
smile on your
excited,
face.
man.
And when I
Very
saw you in the
excited.
parking lot, that smile was a lot bigger, man. You good?
Yes, sir. Very excited. Got some good news this week. Hard work, paying off. Keep grinding hard, man. Just keep going.
So since the last time I saw you, you had just transferred from UNLV.
Mhm.
You were at Texas A&M Commerce.
Mhm.
You're now back home. You're back attending UNLV, but you had a tryout this past weekend, right?
Mhm.
We have an IFL team here in Las Vegas, Vegas Nighthawks. Good friend of the show, good friend of ours, Mike Davis, head coach and general manager, was on the show a couple weeks ago. I saw you out there on Saturday. I was at Heritage Park. I wanted to show up for you. Not only for Mike, like I told Mike, aside from you, I'm here for Jalen. You know what I mean? I want to see what he's going to do, support him, push him through all of this. And you made it, right? I mean, let's
Yes,
talk
sir.
about that and how the tryouts went and what you were told right after that.
So pretty much, I found out the tryout by one of the former UNLV players, Gabe McCoy. I used to work with him, pretty much doing some security gigs. He told me that the Vegas Nighthawks were having a tryout team. I was still in shape, still working out. So I was like, okay, let me look more into it. Week passed. Then I tap into your show. I see head coach Mike Davis. See head coach Mike Davis on there.
Yep.
You start talking about the league and how it's a platform for people who like second chances and how the tryouts, how about 5 or 6 people made it last year. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna try out. I've been working hard. Went out there Saturday, put my hard work, showcased it out to the coaches, made the team. I'm grateful. Just a stepping stone for me. Keep working.
Talk a little bit about the conversation you had with Mike, because I know you said that he pulled you aside at the tryout, but then basically hit you up to let you know, hey, we're going to move on with you and we're going to get this rolling. Talk a little bit about the conversation you had, if you can.
So pretty much after the second one-on-one session, he called me over to hear what he was watching the one-on-ones with the skill players. Pretty much, he asked me my story, what happened with UNLV. I let him know. Went to UNLV, played in about 20 games, started in a couple games. Then I transferred over to Texas A&M Commerce. Unfortunately, things didn't work out there, so I came back home. I had a baby. Grateful for her. She's 1 year old. Her name's Mila.
Let's go.
So I just been working. I got depressed, honestly. Got depressed for about 6 months, not doing anything. Then what gave me the motivation is my girl at home and my friends is playing football right now. Seeing them out there playing football, having fun, doing what they love to do. So that gave me the motivation to keep going. So it's just been I haven't played football in 2 years, so it's been kind of hard for me. And I'm just grateful for this opportunity.
So I know this is going to sound bad. I'm glad, but not that you went through this, but I'm glad you brought this up. And what I mean by that, the depression part of it, right? Because a lot of, not just individuals in the world, but athletes alone, because you guys are trying to hit that pinnacle or continue to play because that's what that's what you want to do, right? You want to make it your life. Can you talk about that 6 months and when you hit that depression, how was it for you? Because if I'm being honest with you, and I say this to people all the time, I'm not afraid to talk about it.
Yeah.
I deal with depression, anxiety, stress almost on a daily. It may not happen every day, but I deal with stuff all the time, right? People talk about when you get depressed, suicide thoughts, this and that. Thank God I'm not there and I don't want to be there. But I know depression is tough and it hits everybody in different ways, shapes, and forms, right? How was it for you and how did you overall deal with it while you were going through all that?
It was very hard for me. Just because, like at first, I'm used to like holding my emotions in and stuff, but I learned that that's not a good way. It started affecting me, not only me, my relationship at home, with my friends, my family. So I seeked out for help.
Okay.
I decided that I'm gonna go get help. Got help, found someone to talk to. Once I started talking to that person, it made me feel much better. I felt like it was a huge weight lifted off my chest, So it's just, and then having my daughter there by my side, that was really huge for me. That was really the turning point to make me like get up and grind every single day. I get up. I can't be in bed all day. Oh, stop indulging. Stop doing this. Stop doing that. Really, just the birth of her really helped me get through this. and not playing. So
One thing I will say, bro, you sound a lot more comfortable in front of the mic. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because I know when you were at school, you did your project. We did the little podcast, and you told me that you want to get into sports media eventually, whatever it may be. The good thing is we want to keep you in sports right now, though, whether it's on the media side or on the field playing, right? We just want to make sure that you're there and you're doing it. But I'll be honest with you, man, I'm proud of you. I told you that. And the fact that you just opened up in these, matter of minutes here, it's very hard for men in general to speak up or even say, hey, I'm dealing with something, right? Or I'm going through something. So the fact that you can speak about that on live air when there's people watching that can criticize you at any time and you don't care and you're okay with that, that's awesome, bro. And I'm proud of you, and I want you to keep doing that. Don't ever be afraid to talk to people. Talking to people is the best thing that's going to be there for you always. The more you hold in, the more you hold back, you're never going to move forward, bro, because you're always going to have all that baggage, all that weight behind you. So I'm glad you spoke up, bro. And you can hit me up anytime. You know that. Like I said, I talk about depression freely with no problem because I'm open about it. So keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep grinding. I appreciate you. Once again, Jalen Graves in the studio, man, hanging out with us, former UNLV Rebel and now current Nighthawk. We're going to make sure that we keep that label there for you until you move up to the next level. Now, you talked about what Mike said, and if you guys saw the video, I posted it on YouTube. I did a little video there of the tryouts and things of that nature. And I also spoke to Mike, and then there was also a part where he sat in the middle of you guys and talked when he was standing there. And he even said, we have guys that are here from the XFL. We have coaches that are here from the CFL. I saw 3 coaches, 3 different teams from the CFL myself there. Probably not the head coaches, but they were people that had on the gear, the attire. So eyes are on you outside of the IFL, right? And like he said, this is the first platform and one of the biggest platforms that you're going to have to be able to move and get onto that next step, right? A lot of people want to get to the pros right away without even waiting. They want to get straight to the NFL or straight to that spot, right? How are you embracing this offer in this current situation, and what are you going to do to make the most of it?
I'm just letting God handle it right now, but I'm just trying to take advantage of this opportunity that I have right now because, like I said, I haven't played football in 2 years, so I'm just grateful. But with this platform is huge because if I do what I have to do and showcase my talent and what I'm supposed to do on the field, then there's always a next step for me within any other league or going on to another team or whatever it is. So,
what you got, Ian?
So you said it is 2 years since you've played organized football, right? So you were out of the game for a while. What are you doing now to prepare, or how long did it take you to get what you feel back in football shape? And earning a contract, in any professional setting is a huge accomplishment. So congratulations on that. But what did you do to prep for that, and what are you continuing to do to get back into the level that you feel like you were playing or better when you were playing with UNLV in Texas?
So honestly, the process has been kind of hard and stressful, honestly, because I'm one person. I do all this by myself. I bought all types of gear. I bought blocking pads, ladders, cones, and I do most of this by myself, and with also the help of my brother. So we go out to the park, Freedom Park, get the work in, get some runs in, do all this conditioning stuff. And when I got friends here, like back home, like I got a couple friends that play in college too. When they come back home, we get work in too. So I just try to get as much work as I can with other individuals because I know most of the time I'm getting work by myself. So that kind of helps me.
Does it put you at ease knowing that you have some of your former UNLV Rebels that are on the squad?
Yeah. So I taught one of my closest friends on UNLV. He's actually on UNLV right now, Austin Ajike. I talk to him almost twice a week.
No, what I'm saying is knowing that there's guys that used to play for the Rebels that are on the Nighthawks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. How does that does that
have you met your teammates yet?
Okay.
Have you been introduced and
no.
know
So
them
I only know 2 players on the team right now. Those were former UNLV players, Jericho Flowers and Gabe McCoy. So
he had a really good. Jericho had a really good year.
That was out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, I'm just sorry that is one of the guys that I enjoyed watching because he was everywhere last year. So it was impressive watching him. Last year.
But I haven't gotten to meet any of the guys yet. I mean, there's a couple guys at tryouts, but I didn't get to introduce myself.
I got you. Definitely. So how excited are you though? Because obviously you have the contract, but you got to prove yourself, right? You got to make sure you can make it to that March spot. What are you going to do to get there?
Just keep grinding, doing what I've been doing, like this is a stepping stone for me, but I'm not satisfied, honestly.
Never stay content.
My whole career, my whole football career, I bet it on myself. So I feel like just keep betting on myself is what helps me. So I'm just keep doing that.
Once again, Jalen Graves in the studio hanging out with us. Straight Bet Sports, Jose V, EMB, Quan59 up in the studio just chatting it up. But the final thing that I'll talk to you about real quick, because I know you want to talk sports with us. We're outside and you were going off on some of your NBA conversation here. So we're definitely going to talk sports with this young man, not just about his personal career and what's going on. But my final question to you, I know you're going to make the spot. I told you on Saturday, we will see you on Wednesday, because I know you're going to get this spot. I know you're going to get a job. I know you're going to get a contract. Not because I knew anything or spoke to anyone. I knew you were going to go out there and show out. It came to fruition, right? You got to put it out there in the universe and things will happen. What do you want to tell to anyone that's watching this right now that's a Nighthawk fan, or even if the organization, or maybe Mike, because I know Mike watches the show. What do you want to tell to those individuals right now that they can expect from you this coming season?
Well, I'm pretty sure no one knows my name right now. Pretty sure no one knew my name on Saturday, but Jalen Graves is here to stay, man. Honestly, I'm Nighthawks. Y'all don't get the best version of me every single day, whether it's on the field, off the field. You guys are gonna get the best version of me. So
there we go. Our guy Jalen Graves, man, newest Nighthawk. Hopefully we keep it that way, because we're gonna go to a lot more games this season. We only went to one game last year. Don't kill us, Mike. I know, but at least we got to one. But we're gonna go to a lot more games this year, my guy. So we're excited to see you out there, and I'm pretty sure your family is excited for you as well, man. You're coming home. You're here. You're in school, and you get an opportunity to continue to play ball at a professional level, man. That's awesome. I'm very proud of you. Keep it going, man. Don't stop. But again, we got a lot more things to talk about today.
Absolutely.
I know Jalen wants to talk some sports.
Busy week in the sports.
I know Jalen has some NBA conversation, because we were talking about that earlier. So why not move right into that, right?
Absolutely.
Obviously, the world of the NBA right now is all over the place. We have firings. We have coaches that are suspended that might end up getting a brand new job here shortly. So let's jump into that one real quick, right? Obviously, we know the whole Boston Celtics situation. You say you're a Boston Celtics fan. We know Udoka's suspended for the whole year. And the suspension is from the team. It's not from the league, right? So the league didn't jump in and do anything. It's all done through the organization. So if he dips and leaves, there's no problem. He can go coach wherever he wants, right? Now, the biggest thing with me when it comes to the Steve Nash firing and now how the whole Udoka and Boston Celtics situation gets all caught up is that if I'm Udoka, and call me crazy, I think he's going to do this. I think he does sign with Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn takes him over, because even Ian said it got reported that Boston said, hey, you're allowed to talk to whoever you want. Go do your thing. And if you get a job, you get a job. But I think, and this is what I feel he should do, and I think he might, I would sit back, chill out, watch the rest of the season play out. You weren't going to coach anyways. You knew you were going to be suspended and you weren't going to be in the league for this 1 year. Sit back, get paid, because the Nets are going to have to pay him if they sign him now, and just organize everything that's going on. When the offseason comes in, you know who you got to move, you know who you have, you know who you're going to coach at that point, right? And then going back to the Brooklyn situation, Brooklyn did the most horrible thing they could have done. You brought in all the names, right? All these big names, but then also names that were previous names that were still relevant, right? There were bigger names that were still there. And then you hire a guy that's never coached in his life. I understand he's also a name. But why would the Brooklyn Nets do that? I don't know. I'm not a general manager. I'm not the owner. I can't give that answer, right? But if I'm watching this from the outside looking in, it was a disaster from the beginning. It was never going to work. It was never going to work. And then now he gets fired, 6-7 games into the season, and now it begs to differ the question. Is it really because of what KD said and what he wanted, and they just wanted to wait it out and see what happens, and now it looks like the organization did right and they're firing a coach that can't make it happen? Or what is it? I just think that the Brooklyn Nets are like, hey, we screwed up. Maybe some of our voices that were said were right, not necessarily KD, but it's gone. It's over. He's done. It is what it is. Nash is out. But I think that whole job situation is tough, because you have a guy in Kevin Durant that has voiced his opinion and got declined from everything. So think about that. If you're a player in that organization, how do you feel about him? If you're anyone that's in the front office, how do you feel about this guy? Now you're coming in as a new coach and you got to deal with that as well. I don't know, man. It's a tough situation. But at the end of the day, I think he does go to Brooklyn. I think he does get that job, and I think he will be the next head coach there.
So what you're saying is you think that Steve Nash was like the failures of the Nets is because of Steve Nash and not necessarily just because they put together a bunch of names that don't work together?
Correct. I think if you would have got a head coach that had pedigree, that had experience, even if he wasn't a head coach, but had assistant head coaching experience, we would have seen a completely different team. You even said it, or I think it was Jalen outside, about Steve Nash and how he couldn't adjust in the playoffs. He couldn't do anything,
so
right?
I'll agree that Steve Nash wasn't the best coach for that team, but I also didn't think it was going, like, I thought the experiment was dumb when it was announced. Like, I didn't see it as a successful way to put together a team anyways. You had KD that forced his way off of the Warriors and just left bad taste in everyone's mouth, right? And then you had Kyrie who forced his way to the Celtics to make himself a star there, right? And he couldn't carry a team even though he tried making it about him, right? And then he kind of forced his way with KD to the Nets, and at some point we have to call it as it is. Is Kyrie a coach killer? Because this is what, his 8th coach in 10 years?
But I wouldn't say he's a coach killer because Golden State won a championship after him. You see what I'm saying? So if Kerr would have been fired, or if the Warriors just completely plummeted and were nobody again, then I would kind of agree with that. But I don't think he's a coach killer. I just think he voices his opinions a bit too much, and he causes a lot of controversy. That's all it is. What do you think, Jalen?
I agree.
Because I know you got a lot on this Boston stuff.
Well, I agree. But like you said, in the playoffs, I feel like the non-coaching did kind of come to effect with Steve Nash. With me being a Boston fan, seeing how he didn't make any adjustments from games 1 to pretty much game 2 in the second half. I just felt like it was, that whole experiment was kind of a whole.
It was doomed from the beginning.
It was. it was crap.
It just wasn't a good thing that happened, man.
And then they sent Harden off. Now you got Ben Simmons, and now it's not looking good. So
and that's the thing that goes back to the coaching situation, man. Like, who knows what Ben Simmons is going to be for the rest of his career? Who knows if he'll even last the next couple years? But you're also giving him a coach that has never coached in his life. You know what I mean? Like, you traded for a guy that needs to be coached, and you have a coach that can't coach, that has never coached. You know what I mean? Like, call me crazy. I think a guy like Darvin Ham, that's with the Lakers, should have got an opportunity with Brooklyn before Steve Nash did, because he had experience. He had the pedigree, right? He wasn't just a guy that had just finished playing and retired and then wants to come back and coach. You understand what I'm saying? And Stephen A said it best, and I don't agree with Stephen A all the time. It wasn't about black and white. There were even white head coaches or coaches that had tons of experience that didn't even get a sniff at that job opportunity.
And I agree with you. I agree with you. I don't think that Steve Nash was qualified for it, but I don't necessarily want to put all of the failcomings on him, because I think that a lot of it has to do with just KD, Kyrie, and everyone like working together. They never really bonded and formed that cohesive unit. And when they finally kind of did, injuries kind of derailed it. So with Harden and Kyrie and Durant all playing together, right? So I think there's a lot to say about it just not working out because of the culture, as well as the players that they brought, and outside circumstances as well. But Steve Nash shouldn't get another job, but if he wants to, like, sit as a head coach at least, right?
Okay, I'm about to say, wait a minute.
I think he did a good enough job that, like, if he wants to learn behind someone, like if he wants to be an assistant coach for a couple of years, I think absolutely he deserves another head coaching opportunity, but he needs that time to kind of develop in the coaching scheme. So
now the one thing that I will say, and you're over here going, well, you can't blame this, that. So to me, it's 50-50. Let me get that clear.
Okay.
I'm not putting the blame on Steve Nash whatsoever. What I'm trying to say is that he just wasn't experienced. You said it. You said it perfectly. You think it's the KD, the Kyrie situation, the players, right? They're the ones that have the issues, and they're the ones that are causing all this. If you had a head coach that had experience, then you had to control those egos and you had to coach that, maybe we wouldn't be in this situation. That's what I'm trying to get to. Again, It's not Steve Nash's fault. He got put into this situation.
Would another coach, though, been able to convince Kyrie to get a shot? Would he have been able to help Harden's hamstrings? Because I feel like that. I'm just saying, like, I feel like that was more of the concern. Now, that being said, Harden looks healthy now with the Sixers right now, knock on wood. But yeah, exactly, right. But that being said, another coach might have rested Harden a little bit more and allowed him to heal, like you're seeing the Sixers allow him to heal during an offseason. So we can see, but I don't know. I agree with you, though. 50-50, you know, you want to assign blame. Sign it to the whole organization as a whole, in my opinion.
Assign it to the whole organization, man. Might
Top
as well,
from
right?
bottom.
The owner's the
From
one
the
that did
owners
it.
to the
general
players,
manager, just
to
everybody.
the fans.
Man, that's 2022 has been a rough year for the Nets organization.
Man, tell me about it. But yeah, man, NBA is interesting right now. Lakers finally get their first win. Westbrook coming off the bench, which should have happened last year.
3 years ago.
But and before we finish off the NBA conversation, because we got a lot more to talk about, but I had this conversation earlier at work, and I could be wrong, but I think Quan said this last year as well. Not the exact words, but this guy is a superstar, right? We know who he is. He knows who he is. He knows his name. You're going into a team with LeBron James, right? We know he is the end-all, be-all. He is the guy. You're not going to surpass him. So you're not that guy anymore. What I always thought, and
Was he ever the guy?
who? Westbrook? Well,
Yeah.
but I'm saying, if you
I
follow
mean, truly,
his career,
like, truly, was he ever the guy?
I'm just saying, if you follow his career, he's been the guy, right? You know, the scorer,
Only
the leader,
because of
this,
lack
that.
of other guys.
I understand that, but what I'm saying and what I'm trying to get to, Ian, is the fact that he should have realized that I am a star, but there's already a star here. I can't be on the starting because I can't start with this guy, right? I can't make it work. I need to have my own flow. I need to be the floor general. Why not be that off the bench? Why not control that second team and you be that general, be that coach, be that leader for the bench, right? Because of the experience you have. We know you can score. Stay on the bench. You probably still get your 20 plus points and still come out and ball. So I hope that this continues. Obviously, it's only one win. We have a long season to go. You know, the Lakers are what they are. You know what I mean? I'm not going to call chips or anything like that or say we're going to win anything, but I'm glad that that step has been taken. I'm glad that Westbrook is on the bench, and I'm glad that they finally got the first win, because seeing them start the season the way they did and watching Quan's post on social media, it's just it's rough as a Laker fan. You know what I mean? I'm happy that I have someone like Quan that can put humor into the situation. You know what I mean? But it's tough being an LA fan right now in general. If you're a Rams fan in football, they're not that great. The Super Bowl champs, not looking good. Lakers, obviously, we know what they are. Dodgers are out of the World Series. I mean, out of the playoffs. Angels aren't anywhere near any type of playoffs. So it's just a tough situation for all LA fans right now, to be honest with you. But do you agree with me, though? Should Russell embrace that and say, hey, let me be the bench general here?
I think Quan said it like a year and a half ago that he should be a sixth man. Like, absolutely. Because first of all, Russell, in my opinion, he always has viewed himself as a superstar. I don't think I've ever seen him as a superstar. I've seen him as a star in this league. Like, you can be a star, you can be a good player in this league, someone that is a valuable piece. But I've never seen him as that superstar, the guy that you just build a whole team around. Multiple organizations, it seems, have tried and failed because he's just not that guy, because he's not a selfless leader. He's kind of selfish when it comes to it, and he's proven it time and time again. So I hope that they keep him as coming off the bench.
All right.
And they will. I said that at the beginning of last season. And he'll be sixth man of the year if he comes off the bench. Easy.
Absolutely.
Easy. And exactly what I said last year is you don't have to start games to finish games, right? He finished the game. That's what Lamar Odom did as a Laker and loved that role. Manu Ginobili did that for how many years and is a Hall of Famer. Absolutely. You could be a Hall of Famer coming off being a sixth man. Yeah. Sixth man is not a bad word. Iguodala. I mean, there's so many that embrace that sixth man role and realize you could be an all-star as a sixth man. There's a lot of six men that made the all-star game. So I think he has no choice to embrace the role, right? They're like cheering him. Oh man, he's embracing his role. Yeah, because it took a year and 5
should have
games to
happened a
finally
long time
embrace
ago,
it.
yeah.
And it needs to be done. It should have been done last year. They probably would have made the playoffs if they would have been healthy. But this year, with them being healthy, if he can come off the bench or just do what Miles Turner said and trade for Miles Turner and Buddy Hield. Yeah. Miles Turner's pushing for that, which was crazy that a player could do that on a podcast these days. But Lakers will be a lot better. But that's you have a Hall of Famer coming off your bench.
Yeah,
that makes the team so much better.
Oh yeah, it increases the bench differential, which we've seen year in, year out. The teams that usually make deep playoff runs and the ones that actually are efficient all the way through are the ones that have talented benches. And so I don't understand why it's taken this long, but I hope that the success continues, and I hope that they continue putting him on the bench.
What do you think about Russell Westbrook, Jalen?
I was going to say, I feel like it's smart for the Lakers to have him come off the bench because, as you can see on the game that they played, like the team just looked more energized. I don't know, like they were having more fun, like with him coming off the bench. As you can see,
that's because they get the ball now.
But when you have him in the starting lineup, like the Lakers just look dull. Like there's no energy, a lot of threes, a lot of forced shots. I don't know. I hate the Lakers, you know, because I'm a Celtics fan. But I was just happy for Russell Westbrook to see him come off the bench and showcase what he has done throughout his career. So
I'm excited, man. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to tell you this. I know we're not starting the best way that everybody wanted us, fans-wise, that are Laker fans that expected this to be, you know, a different regime with a new coach and all that. I wasn't expecting anything from the Lakers this year, if I'm being honest with you. As a fan, do I want them to win? What's that?
You still shouldn't.
Exactly.
Anthony Davis has already been hurt all year.
But here's the thing. What we're trying to get to is that
dunking, right?
I think it's still too soon, bro.
Jumping.
Like, even if we don't do anything this year, right?
out of the bathtub.
Every time he jumps up, he's like holding his back, holding
that
his
is,
knee.
yeah.
They should have traded him last year too. I said
it's because they're not in the bubble anymore, so he feels everything now. It's the travel, bro. You got to put him in a bubble to travel.
He can't
around.
go in LeBron's cryotherapy every week.
But here's the thing, bro. With Darvin Ham being a first-year coach, don't expect anything from the Lakers, and that's not a knock to him. I think he's a great mind. I think he's going to do good eventually as a head coach, but this is his first year. And not only that, you're coming into a team that is dysfunctional, right, because of what happened last year. So many names on this team. It's kind of like a Brooklyn Nets team, right, what they had last year. Carmelo, exactly, like all these guys that are trying to win that chip that they never got, or some of these guys that already got one trying to get another one with LeBron. So I just think that we're not going to win anything this year. If we do, it'd be nice. If we even get to the playoffs, I think that'd be an accomplishment, as crazy as that sounds. But like Quan said, don't expect anything from the Lakers this year, man, at all. Now,
and I call Darvin Ham the Black Frank Vogel because the offenses looked exactly the same under Darvin Ham and Frank Vogel. There's been no difference in this team.
Once again, you are tuned in to Straight Bet Sports live here on the Guerrilla Cross Radio Network. EMB, Quan59, Jose V, and our guy Jalen Graves hanging out in studio, man, talking some sports here real quick. But I want to get into some football talk real quick because I feel like we don't talk too much football. We always run it at the end, and we're just talking one thing and calling it a night and getting it over with. But before I do so, I just want to throw this out. Chris Wynn just chimed in, our guy, Chris Wynn. He's basically like a co-host here, too, because he fills in with us all the time, man. We greatly appreciate him. He says, Russell Westbrook, absolutely, quotations, keyword was a superstar, guys. But the last couple of years, he just hasn't been. I agree with that. I don't think he's been the superstar that he was, but coming off the bench, he can be another guy.
I'm curious about that, though. Like, because why? Because he's a triple-double machine. Kobe said it. Multiple players have said it. Players that are actually superstars, if they were selfish and won a triple-double every night, they could. And for that run that he was going for, there was nights where you could tell that's what his goal was a triple-double. It wasn't winning. It wasn't making his team overall better. It wasn't winning a championship. It was a triple-double. So when your only goal is to stat pad, I'm sorry, you're not a superstar. That's not a superstar quality, and I'll never believe that you can build a team around a guy that's so focused on his own accomplishments and where his place in history will fall than actually winning a championship.
You said it, my man.
I totally agree with you, you know, because superstar is more than just putting up the points, averaging 30. Mm-hmm. It's the leadership with a superstar, you know. It's when the team goes on a 15-0 run, you know, how can you get your group guys to come and regroup and, you know, go back out there and put them on a 10-0 run, you know? So I agree with you. I feel like being a superstar is way more than just stats and points and all the other stuff. It's being a leader too, as well. Being an example for your teammates and for other people as well. So
and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say that Russell Westbrook isn't talented. I'm just saying that in terms of the way, like, his personality doesn't allow him to be a superstar, and I don't think it ever has. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say that he wasn't talented enough to be what many consider a superstar in the league.
But you could be a superstar without being a winner. I think James Harden's been the same thing, right? Like, has he really looked like he's wanted to win the championship?
Nope.
I don't know.
I think they're in the
but
same place.
how can you say that when he's also led league in like assists before? Like,
I mean, Russell Westbrook has the MVP. He led the league in assists.
yes, but most of the times when Harden is passing, it's not just because he wants that triple double or anything. It's because literally his either something's not looking right at the line for him, right? He doesn't think he can score here, or he's trying to win.
I feel like Russell and Harden are the same exact type of superstar. I don't think there's any difference between those two.
I never thought about that before, but that is a great point. Like, if you think about it, they're not the same player, but they.
I mean, you want to talk about coaching, right? With the Houston Rockets, when Harden was playing with the Houston Rockets, and it was like, in that situation, a better coach, I feel, would have actually led them to the finals. Because Harden was putting that team on his back, and you could tell he was trying to win that year. So that's when you build around a player in terms of roster like they did, you had great success until it comes down to the like really tough games in the playoffs. That's when coaching comes into factor the most, I think. And if they had a better coach, remember, like, he got fired shortly after that season, and he's been kind of struggling to get another nod at it.
Correct.
So
it's going to be interesting, though, bro. It's going to be a fun season moving forward. Once again, Jose V, EMB, Quan59. Got our guy, Jalen Graves, in the studio. You guys are tuned in to Straight Bet Sports, live here on the Guerrilla Cross Radio Network. We got a couple other topics we want to talk about. So I got a little video here that I want to play. But before we play that video, because I want to get Jalen's thoughts on that real quick, right? I got a couple of players here in the NFL that I want to throw this out here to you, and I'll get both of your thoughts if you want. You know, you guys can let me know. So we got a lot of rookies in the NFL this year, right?
Absolutely.
Obviously, and a lot of good rookies, not just one, not just two. We have a lot. We got running backs, we got defensive players, and all that. Here's one guy that I want to get both of your thoughts on. All right, Kenneth Walker has more rushing yards, 461 yards this season, than these star running backs: Ezekiel Elliott, Joe Mixon, Leonard Fournette, Austin Eckler, Najee Harris, Raheem Mostert, Devin Singletary, Antonio Gibson, and David Montgomery.
I mean,
is this a star in the making?
I mean, you did just name like one star there. So,
but if we're talking about, if we're talking about starters, Ezekiel's a starter, Joe Mixon's a starter,
starters.
Okay,
Austin
Eckler's a starter.
I thought you were saying stars,
but
like
I'm
in
saying,
the
but I'm
like.
saying,
I mean, because none of those running backs would I consider
they are
in their career
but
premier
they're the guys
back.
on their team.
Like,
they're the guys on their team, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But are we seeing a star in the making here?
Absolutely. I mean, I said it back when he was at Michigan. I thought that he was Michigan State. Sorry, I thought he was an absolute stud. I thought that he should have probably won the Heisman.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it was close. I mean, Bryce was having a phenomenal year. He should have at least been, in my opinion, the runner-up. But yeah, Kenneth is a beast, man. Like he runs that, like he runs with vision, which is impressive for a rookie. That usually is not necessarily something that they just
takes you a minute.
Yeah, like just come in the league, and like he'll punch those holes, and he also has that just innate ability to get like to the outskirts, to the sides, and just go for it. So I love Kenneth Walker. I think that he's going to have a very, very good year. It's sad to see some of these other running backs. Like I like Breece Hall too, but unfortunately, he, from what it sounds like, he might actually be out like this year and part of training camp because he suffered a pretty significant injury. So
what you think, Jalen? You like Kenneth?
Yeah, I think Kenneth Walker, he's a beast, honestly. He's very electrifying. I feel like he did a good thing for the Seahawks. You know, Seahawks, that's a steal, honestly. I really think that's a steal. And he honestly helped the Seahawks with Geno Smith, take some pressure off Geno Smith. You know, Geno Smith don't have to do too much with the offense. You know, also they got DK. I feel like the Seahawks did a real good job with their draft because they not only they have him, but they got another guy on the defensive side that could also be that's in the conversation.
Yeah, Woolen in what was it, sixth round of the pick or sixth round of the draft, fifth round of the draft. Woolen is a monster, and that didn't necessarily actually surprise me. I thought he was a little bit raw, which is why he fell to the fifth. But athletic ability, in my opinion, there's really no corners in this class that were more athletic than Woolen, because Woolen ran like a 4.3. He's 6'4".
Vert, it's crazy.
Dude, Vert was like I think he almost had like a 50-inch vert. It was crazy. I remember the stats were like he scored like a 10 raw score, which is nuts for a corner. So.
And Seattle's looking good, man. Interesting there. I got another one for you guys here too, okay? You mentioned DK. So the individual that I'm going to name right now has more receiving yards than DK Metcalf. Star player, right? We agree with that? Yeah. Deebo Samuel, star player. We agree with that. Gabe Davis becoming a star player. We agree with that. T. Higgins, he's good, but not a star yet. Tyler Lockett is the only receiver aside from DK on Seattle, right? Back to back, they got that there. So that's that. And Devontae Adams, the big money, that guy that came to Vegas. The guy I'm talking about is Chris Olave from the New Orleans Saints. 547 receiving yards this year. I think he's an absolute stud. And not only that, I agree with the stud part. Two different quarterbacks. You haven't had a solid quarterback on that team this year, but yet you're leading these star receivers in the league right now. Again, do we have a star on our hands?
Absolutely. I mean, you saw in the draft again, some of these players, like some people are trying to say like it's a surprise, but with Olave, like out of the draft, he was one of the most, like he was the smoothest route runner out of all of them. He had very short hands even in college. So does it surprise me that he's been able to do it his rookie year with the change of quarterbacks constantly and just not necessarily a very good team right now? Yes. But then again, you also got to wonder how much of it is the fact that he's right now the only person you can throw to. So, I mean, Michael Thomas, what did I say at the beginning of the year? He wasn't going to be healthy, even though Saints fans claimed he was healthy. He hasn't played a full season in over like 2 years. So it didn't surprise me that he's hurt again. I hate that he's hurt. I wish that he was healthy, but... So you have that. Jarvis Landry, who's usually actually pretty healthy, is hurt. So right now you have Olave and Kamara. That's it. You know, Taysom Hill. So like you can throw a Taysom Hill or catch from Taysom Hill or block for Taysom. I don't know what you're doing with Taysom Hill, but you can throw a Kamara or you can throw a Olave, and that's really their only deep threat on the team. So it doesn't necessarily surprise me in that case, but we'll see when he has actual receivers fighting for target shares.
Jalen, what you think about Chris?
I think he's a star in the making. He's very consistent. Well, of course, he's a good route runner, and I feel like he just finds ways to get open. He just finds a way to get open. He's always open, man.
But that's the route running, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, that's just technique usually, and athleticism has a part of play with that. But there's a lot of players that aren't necessarily athletic that are able to, or athletic by the means of a wide receiver, right? Mm-hmm. That are still able to get always open because their route running is technically sound. So
last one, I'm going to throw a defensive guy out there because we got a defensive gentleman in the building with us.
Monster.
It's our guy. No, I'm just kidding, my guy, because he's not your guy. But yeah, my guy. He's on my team, obviously. Sauce Gardner, through 8 games, right? Check this out. 323 coverage snaps. 44.2% receptions, right? Percentage. Least among all qualified rookie cornerbacks. 12 passes defended with your guy, or whoever you said it was. Tied for first in the NFL. 147 yards allowed. Least among all qualified rookie QB cornerbacks. This guy for the Jets, he's already the next Darrelle Revis. He is. It's Sauce Gardner and nothing else. If you look at the way the kid plays on the field, I love watching him. He is literally that general in that backfield. I mean, on the defensive side of the ball. And if I'm being honest with you, I hope the Jets can figure out how to not lose this kid. Because remember, we lost Darrell. He left, won a championship, came back, wasn't the same guy. I don't want something like that to happen. I want them to find a way to build more around this kid because he is the future of this New York Jets defense. And not only that, he's the future of the cornerback position.
Absolutely. So it's funny that you mentioned Revis. I know Revis played for your team, and he is, your last great corner. But he plays like him. He kind of has that chip on his shoulder and attitude, right? And that it's funny because that's kind of like what the Jets feel like they need. They needed a player that kind of like fires up the crowd, right? That's going to put the cheese head on after it obliterates the Packers, like stuff like that. Like it gets fans excited, and I couldn't be more excited for this kid. I'm a little bit surprised. I thought he was going to be good. Like I thought he was outstanding in college. I really wanted him on my team. I thought he was going to be good. I'm surprised at how well he's doing without really safety help. And that's to me the most surprising thing is that he is doing it on a secondary that's outside of him. It's not necessarily the best secondary.
Correct, yeah.
Like he has some players there and they're doing their job, but he is absolutely worth the pick. I mean, he's a steal at, what was it, 10? That you guys, no, not 10. It was
6. I think he was in the top 10. I don't remember where it was, but he was up there. He was in the top 10.
Was he your first pick?
No. It was this year. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of.
He was your first pick.
Yes,
Garrett
he was
Wilson
our first.
was 10.
I'm sorry.
Garrett Wilson was 10. Yes. He was 3.
Yes.
Right. So, I mean, some people said that was way too high to pick a corner, but I think he absolutely changes the culture of that defense, and I think he's definitely a solid guy, and I think it might actually save Saleh a couple more years to prove what he actually can do.
What do you think about the defensive guy, Jalen?
Honestly, I love what he's doing his rookie year. Man, his cover skills, very good. Man skills, very good. And then he makes a play, he's going to let you know about it too, for sure. And that's one thing I like because, like I said, like you said, it gets the fans going, and it even gets the fans at home going. I'm not a Jets fan, but I see somebody make a good play and pop his stuff after, I'm gonna get excited too, Yeah. So I feel like he brings that swag, and I feel like that's what I feel like the Jets team is kind of rejuvenated with these young guys that they brought in. They had Garrett Wilson, Zach Wilson, Breece Hall got hurt, Then they got Jermaine Johnson hasn't really played that much, but he's still in the works.
When he's been on the field, he's actually been
bro,
playing
the other wide
good.
receiver too. Like the guy, because after Elijah Moore's situation, it's like
let's talk about that a little bit. So Mims requested a trade, right? Obviously, it didn't happen, but the other receiver made a bigger deal about it. Elijah Moore. He's been on record saying, I don't have any rapport with Zach Wilson. I don't get the ball, bro. Like I don't even know.
He's like, I don't know. I don't even get the ball.
Yeah, like I don't know what he's looking at. Like he has straight up said that he is unhappy with the Jets. They refused to trade him at trade deadline. Bro, how do you feel about that? I mean, because in my opinion, Elijah Moore is a very talented receiver, and he actually kind of has a reason. Like if you look at the tape, he kind of has a reason to bark.
Bro, if I was a Jets receiver, I'll be honest with you, I would be upset too. Zach Wilson is not doing anything right now. Everybody's like, oh, you guys are winning though. We're not winning because of him. We're winning because of everything else that the team is doing. The defense, the turnovers, things that is being coached on the field. We're not winning because of Zach Wilson. That guy is doing nothing for us if we're being honest.
Yeah. Which do you think, speaking of your team, which do you think is more detrimental? The injury to Vera Tucker or the injury of Breece Hall?
Breece Hall. Because if you look at the last 2 games Breece
you don't
had
think
before
James
he got
can
hurt,
fill that spot? Because I think Vera Tucker actually had more to do with like the run game than necessary. Like Breece is talented. Don't get me wrong. Like it is a drop off between Breece and James. I'm not trying to say that, but everyone knows that the run game runs through the O-line. That's just the truth. No matter how talented you are back there, you're going to you might be able to make something happen, but an excellent run game is run through the O-line. So I think that actually hurts you guys a little bit more in terms of the run game than, not having Breece Hall.
We'll see how it goes, man. The Jets still aren't winning anything this year for all you Jets fans out there. So if you guys know what I'm talking about, The
He's still
Jets
getting that
will
tattoo.
not. Bro, if the Jets win 4 more games, I gotta get this.
Four
damn
more.
tattoo, so
We're on
stop-
countdown, guys.
Stop
We're
telling me about that.
officially on countdown.
Freaking Ian. But look, man, we
4 more
we got about
games.
10 minutes left, and we still got to do our picks of the week. And you know, what I mean, want to get through all that. We want to get Jalen. So Jalen, I gotta ask you for a pick this week, okay? So here's the thing: we're just gonna ask you to choose a winner because you're still in the school. We don't want to get you in trouble. This is all fun. We're not gambling. We're not doing any of that. All right? So we just want to pick a winner. That's all we want you to tell us who you think might win a football game this weekend, and we'll call it a wrap. But before we do so, right? Before we do so, I'm gonna name down these trades. All I want to hear from either
Major
you,
trades,
because we can't go through everyone because we don't have time.
good or bad.
Which one surprised you the most, and which one was the best one in your opinion? Okay. So we had Robbie Anderson to the Cardinals, Christian McCaffrey to the Niners, James Robinson to the Jets, Robert Quinn to the Eagles, Kadarius Toney to the Chiefs, Roquan Smith to the Ravens, TJ Hawkinson to the Vikings, Chase Claypool to the Bears, Bradley Chubb to the Dolphins if he could stay healthy, Calvin Ridley, which was a big one, to the Jaguars, Nate, you know, just in general the situation, and Naheem Hines to the Bills. I'll give you mine and I'll let you guys go first. I think the one that's going to be the best one overall, and we just saw it this past weekend, is going to be the Christian McCaffrey trade to the San Francisco 49ers. I think the fact that he brings what he brings to that team, and we saw it this last Saturday, take away the throw that he had, but the guy can run, he can catch, he can do so much more for that team. And when you have a guy like Debo that can do the same, and now you're mixing in Brandon Ayuk a whole lot more, and now you have Christian McCaffrey, I just think that this 49er team offensively is going to be very scary moving forward for the rest of the season. And I think out of all the trades that were done, I think the Niners will benefit right away before any other team will with this trade. The one that kind of caught me a little bit off guard is the TJ Hawkinson one.
Yeah.
You're trading a first rounder that you drafted, I believe, in the top 10.
Trade.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Stupid
Top
trade.
10 to a team in your own division.
I don't think it was top
We-
10.
still,
but
first round,
I think he was. I want to say he is top 20 though.
Okay, still, but first round pick, right? And you're trading them into your division. That one caught me off guard. I don't know why
3
they
years
did that.
after his contract, like he's not even done with his rookie contract. It makes zero sense to me.
And the one that I think was, I think was good, and I'll just leave this here for the future. Okay, for the future, I think the Calvin Ridley trade to the Jaguars is a good one because if he does get reinstated next year, the Jaguars got a playmaker. They got someone that's still young, that's still healthy, that's still fresh, that can give Trevor Lawrence a little more there, right, on the offensive side of the ball. But what do you guys think from all those trades, real quick? Give me.
So are we doing 3? Because you gave.
Yeah,
3.
give 3 real quick.
so-
Yeah.
All right. So I agree. I think the most shocking was T.J. Hawkinson. I don't understand the trade at all. It makes zero sense. You strengthen a division rival. You're a young team clamoring that you're building a culture around youth and hard workers. I don't know anyone that embodies that more than TJ on that team right now. And it makes zero sense to me. You made the Vikings a lot stronger than they previously were because Irv is good, but he's not TJ Hawkinson. TJ Hawkinson right now is producing like a top 15 tight end through his rookie contract. I expect that to continue, and now he has a much better team. So we could actually see his stock rise up a lot. I think the impact player, the one that actually is going to help his team win more now, is going to be Bradley Chubb, because I think him on the other side of Jalen Phillips is nasty. Like I think that is a very vicious pass rushing linebacker duo. So I think Bradley Chubb helps the most right now, especially with that division and with the Bills, who are obviously their major contender. And then I think what was the last one?
We have which one surprised you the most, which one works now, and what's good for the future.
I like the Calvin Ridley. I think that was best. I think that was a good trade for both teams. And rarely do you actually see that, where I think it is literally fair for both, where it helps the Jags if he ends up being something. It's no risk if he ends up not being able to be like a contributor. And then it helps the Falcons because if he ends up being a contributor, that's the most they're going to get for him right now, is a second round after what happened. And if not, they still get a pick for him. So it's good all around.
TJ Hawkinson, by the way, Chris chimed in. Thank you, Chris. He was drafted number 8th overall in 2019.
Overall,
so still,
wow.
I told you, top 10 draft pick, right? So what's the last one you got?
That's inexcusable. Yeah, that's it.
Jalen, you're 3. Best for now, biggest surprise, best for the future.
like I said, the biggest surprise was the T.J. Hawkinson one.
Okay.
But I didn't know the severity of the Irv Smith injury, so it
It makes sense for the Vikings. Like Vikings
It makes
A
a lot of
plus.
sense for the
Like yeah, like
Vikings.
Vikings. Anytime you can take advantage of your division rival, like absolutely do it. But yeah, no, it doesn't make sense for the Lions. Sorry, it didn't mean. But,
It's all good. I think the Bradley Chubb move. I think that would be very beneficial. Meaning that the Dolphins run a lot of man, and a lot of blitz a lot. So I think that'll help them a lot with that with the blitzing. So they don't have to blitz too much. And I like the Calvin Ridley one, but I want to be different. I'm gonna say maybe the Claypool one, maybe
The Chase Claypool
Yeah,
one.
maybe that one could help.
I just
the
don't
Bears,
think
they don't.
I don't think he's worth the second round. I mean, I know they picked him in the second round, but I don't see it. And like you get immaturity to a young team that's struggling. We'll see. I mean, that one is going to be like whatever happens, but we'll know later if that's a good trade.
So let's get into our picks of the week because we're already at the end of the show. We got about 5 minutes left here before we close it on out. But last week, Ian and I both won. So I'm at 4-4 on the season. I had the Eagles, easy money. I told you guys minus 10.5. Do not be afraid. They were playing a garbage team, and that came through and covered. So I'm at 4-4 now. But then Ian jumps to 3-5, correct? Because you got your win. Our guy Sosa falls to 1-1 now because he gave us a bad pick there. But I'm going to let you go first here, Ian. I'm going to let you pick your pick of the week, and then we'll go with Jalen, and I'll go last.
Don't we always go with guests first?
Actually, you are right. Thank you, Jalen. So do you already know the games of this week by any chance, or do I have to run them by you real quick?
Can you run them by me?
So we got Eagles at the Texans tomorrow. We got Colts at the Patriots, Bills at the Jets, Dolphins at the Bears, Vikings at the Commanders, Packers at the Lions, Chargers at the Falcons, Panthers at the Bengals, Raiders at the Jaguars, Seahawks at the Cardinals, Rams at the Bucks, Titans at the Chiefs, and Monday night we got the Ravens going into New Orleans against the Saints. What you got?
So I'm picking my favorite matchup of the.
Yeah, favorite matchup.
What
Who
you
you
got?
think
Yeah.
is going to win of the week?
What do you think wins?
I think probably gonna have to go with the Eagles again.
Okay.
You know the Eagles.
So we're not going to give you the point spread. We're just going to go straight
yeah.
out. So you think the Eagles win it outright? I can see that. There's no way Texans win that game. All right. What you got, Ian?
I really like the Miami Dolphins right now at their current line. It's -5 against the Bears.
That's what you got?
Yeah, that's my hot
So
pick.
I'm actually glad you did that because I'm going to go opposite.
Really?
I was listening to it on the radio this morning, and I heard and I heard something to me that was it was funny. I laughed. I heard that the Dolphins are the third best team in the AFC. I think that's a joke. The Dolphins are not the third best team in the AFC. I don't see exactly who is better than them, but I would put the Ravens there. Even though the Ravens have given up those leads, the reason why the Dolphins to me are not the best team in the league is Tua. Or the third best team in the AFC is Tua. Tua cannot stay healthy. He gets rocked again, he's done.
The guy that had the best quarterback rating or grade of any quarterback in the entire league Sunday?
Nope, I don't care. It means nothing to me. It means nothing to me. I'm going based off of who the Dolphins are. I truly do not. The Dolphins are good. They're a good team. I'm not saying they're not.
You know Tyreek
but they're
is
not the third best team in the
39 yards away from 1,000 yards already.
I don't care.
39
and
yards.
they're 5-3. And they're third in their
39.
division. They're 5-3, and they're behind
And
my New York
how many
Jets.
games did Tua
How
miss?
is this team the third best team in the AFC
How
when they're
many
third
ga-
in their division
How many
and they're
games did
behind the
Tua
Jets?
miss?
It doesn't matter.
So I got a
It doesn't
question.
matter. It doesn't matter. You're supposed to be the third best team in the AFC, but you're third in your own division.
So you're saying the Ravens? You still taking the Ravens? You're saying the Ravens better than the Dolphins, even though the
Right now,
Dolphins
yes.
still beat the Ravens? So
Right now,
Okay,
yes.
third in a division, right? Do you think the Jets are better than? Because that's what you're saying, right? Do you think the Jets are better than?
Yeah,
Miami
we beat them
Dolphins?
already. I don't care if Tua wasn't there. We
Stop.
beat him already. We beat
Stop.
him already. That defense is supposed to be good. That defense is supposed to be a great defense. Defense didn't show up against the Jets, and we have a quarterback that can't do anything to save his life. So yes, I'm sorry.
Weren't
the
you guys
Miami
playing
Dolphins
Skylar Thompson?
are not the third best team in the AFC.
Wasn't that a Skylar Thompson game?
I don't care. The rest of the team was still
Mr.
there.
Boy Wonder from the preseason.
Your guy Tyreek, Mr. Almost at 1,000, was still there. Everyone was still there. It's the same team. It's the same coach. So don't give me that. The Jets won a few games with Joe Flacco. So don't give me that. Okay.
Okay.
The Dolphins are not the third best team in the AFC. With that being said, give me the Bears plus the 5 at home. Call me crazy. Put them on the money line. They might even win the game outright.
Crazy.
But that's all it is. I'm there. That's how I feel. But Ian, before we let you get your final thoughts, my guy, let everybody know where they can find you, follow you, on all things social media.
You can follow me at bird__95 on Instagram, Jalen Graves _ on Twitter.
There we go. And make sure you follow the Vegas Nighthawks because this man will be on that team march. What you got, Ian?
Haven't done this for a while, but make sure you like, subscribe, click notifications. Make sure Gorilla Cross Radio, Jose _Volante, Ian B _sports, Straight Bet Sports, all above. We go live every week on Wednesday. Make sure you're following, and sharing with your friends.
So I just want to say thank you to everybody that's a part of the show today and has always been a part of the show when they come through. Jalen, greatly appreciate you, my guy. This won't be the last time we get you on. We'll get you on a lot more during the next coming days, months, whatever it may be here. So I appreciate you, my man. Continued success and keep doing what you're doing. Stay humble. And you'll make it, man. You'll be there.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, my guy. Anytime. You know that.
Appreciate you coming, bro.
And Ian, appreciate you as always, my guy. I know you almost didn't make it today, but thank you for being here. And of course, Quan, we appreciate everything that you do every single week for us. But my final thought of the night, it's kind of going away from sports a bit. If you guys are music fans, obviously you heard the note, you heard the news, you heard what happened with Migos and the group there with Takeoff being shot over a dice game. The only thing I will say here is the one thing that I still don't understand, and it's not about black, white, it's not about any of that. It's the fact that successful young men can't get out of their own shadow and their own past. I understand that it was over a dice game, you're having fun, but why are we playing dice at a mall, I believe it was? That's one thing, right? Or a bowling alley, whatever it is. That's my question. The other question is, look at what happened to Aaron Hernandez, right? This is another guy that had it all, got the money, had the fame, could have won a bunch of Super Bowls and been one of the main guys on that team, but he wanted to still be that guy or someone else that he wasn't, and he couldn't get away from that. The one thing that I will say is that if I ever get into that type of fame, if I ever had that type of money, I would get away from everyone that's negative and everything that got me into trouble, right? And what I mean by that, again, not talking bad about this guy or the group or anything like that. Rest in peace. I know his family's going through a lot. It sucks. No one should be shot and killed in any type of bad way, shape, or form, right? But what I'm saying is we need to find a way to get away from our past. You got to get away from all that. When you make it, whether you're an athlete, whether you're a movie star, whether you're a rapper, find a way to get away from all the BS and throw all that in your past. Put it in your rearview mirror and move on. I know you're a rapper. You rap, you have your persona, this, that, and the other. I get that. But that doesn't mean you still have to be around the BS. Grow up, move on, get away from it. Be a role model. Don't be someone that's just being the norm and everything is happening over and over again. We gotta stop killing each other and shooting each other and doing dumb stuff over BS that has nothing to do with it. Grow up and be the example. Again, rest in peace to Takeoff, his family, and everyone that's going through it. Thoughts and prayers to them. No disrespect. Till then, I am Jose V. Till next week for EMB, Quan59, Jalen Graves. You have been tuned into another episode of Straight Bet Sports. Till next week, we are out. Peace.
Go Phillies.